The Fall Guy hits theaters this weekend, and with this adaptation of a Glenn Larson show out of the way, Hollywood can finally turn its attention to the adaptation everybody really wants, The Highwayman. You remember The Highwayman, right? It was like 9 episodes long in 1987 about a guy who drives a truck around and solves crimes. No? I'm not surprised. This episode's brought to you by Mando. Go to shopmando.com and use promo code Dan for a special offer, and stay tuned after the episode for more info. Hello everybody, and welcome to my review of The Fall Guy, which kicks off the summer movie season here in the US, even though, yes, I know, it's early May. The Fall Guy is a reimagining / adaptation of the 1980s Lee Majors TV series, which aired on ABC for 5 seasons. Ryan Gosling plays Colt Seavers, an A-list stuntman who's made a career of doubling for a talented but difficult star named Tom Ryder, played by Aaron Taylor Johnson. After being sidelined for several months, Colt is called back into action by Tom's producer Gail, played by Hannah Waddingham, to find Ryder after he goes missing from a huge sci-fi epic film. A simple mission that escalates into what appears to be a murder plot and a missing persons case all rolled into one. Complicating matters is Colt's relationship with the movie's first-time director Jodie, played by Emily Blunt, who harbors a grudge after Colt ghosted her mid-fling on another movie. I guess you could categorize The Fall Guy as an action romance, but I think it works much better as an action movie than as a romance, and consequently, the first half of the film feels a bit slow. Luckily for The Fall Guy, they hired 2 actors with great charisma in Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt to be the leads of the film, and it's that charisma that really keeps the film above water for that first half or so. Did you ever watch a movie where 2 characters are interacting, and you can tell that what they're saying is supposed to be funny, like it's got all of the inflections and the delivery of a joke, but it's just not quite connecting? That's how I felt about a lot of the banter scenes in The Fall Guy.
But you look good in everything. You look good in nothing, whatever. No, I don't mean it like that. But you do look good in nothing.
This isn't gonna work.
You do.
The screenplay is credited solely to Drew Pearce, whose only previous screenplay credit solo is 2018's Hotel Artemis. He also co-wrote Hobbs and Shaw and also Iron Man 3 with Shane Black. And I think if you compare the banter in Iron Man 3 with the banter in The Fall Guy, you can see the value of having a writer on board who's able to work more on those character interactions. Shane Black has a great ear for dialogue, and that's what I think is missing from this movie. Although there's no telling who did uncredited work on the screenplay, Pearce should have been teamed up officially with a writer to help punch up those comedy scenes. Many of the ones in the trailer are either manipulated from footage that appears elsewhere in the movie, or it just doesn't appear in the movie at all.
What's an ice cream?
Are you saying ice cream or ice cream?
Ice cream.
Okay, it's just with your accent, it's hard. I'm not reporting an ice cream.
Yes, no, I get that.
Okay.
As it is, a lot of the dialogue scenes, particularly between Blunt and Gosling, feel like desperation best tries or perhaps day of improvs that go on just a little bit too long. Gosling and Blunt are 2 great actors, and I think that they should have made an electric on-screen couple. So in that way, it feels like a bit of a waste of their talent. Another thing The Fall Guy tries to do is act as a meta script, a movie commenting on itself, but that concept has been done so many times that it would take something truly inventive to stand out, and I didn't get that. One meta conversation interrupts what I think is a critical scene in the film and goes on for a few minutes before ending without a whole lot of resolution, and I was somewhat surprised that it actually made the movie, because I think the scene would have been better without it. And generally, I think The Fall Guy is a bit too long because we do linger on a lot of those dialogue scenes. I wonder if they were just worried that we weren't going to buy Gosling and Blunt as a couple unless they had all of this banter back and forth, but it didn't really have to worry about that because, again, they're great actors and they have a natural on-screen chemistry. You don't have to sell us on it. It's also tough to position yourself as a movie that comments on Hollywood from a place of expertise, then portrays a shoot that's laughable, quite frankly, to anybody who's ever worked on a set. There's one scene that's played for comedy where Emily Blunt makes Ryan Gosling repeat a stunt over and over out of spite, and it makes a good comedy setup, but all I was thinking as I was watching was, if a director did this on set, a first-time director, and wasted that much time and money, they probably would have been replaced before any of the events happened in this film, and they also would have gotten absolutely chewed out by the movie's stunt coordinator for putting one of the stunt performers at such unnecessary risk. But I acknowledge this is a very minority viewpoint. I have been lucky enough to spend some time on sets in my previous life in LA, so it was just something that stuck out to me most people aren't going to care, but everything's about how you see it through your own personal lens. So I got a bit of a chuckle, really, more than anything out of that. Luckily for the Fall Guy, the action in the movie is spectacular, which is no surprise coming from stuntman turned director David Leitch. And because the Fall Guy's stated mission is to give the stunt performers their due, I also have to praise Aussie stunt coordinator Keir Beck and the stunt team for excellent work, most of which appears to be practical, as evidenced by the clips shown over the closing credits. Beck also served as a stunt coordinator on Mad Max Fury Road, among other films, and his team pulls off several great action sequences which escalate in scale and frequency as the movie goes on. One particular stunt apparently set a new world record for stuntman Logan Holiday for most number of rolls in a stunt vehicle at 8.5, which is one of the cooler world records to break. It's not like setting the world record for most mini marshmallows eaten in one sitting, which, by the way, I would have broken if someone hadn't stopped me. Gosling was obviously a crucial part of the team, performing a lot of the close-up stunt work while leaving the more dangerous parts to his numerous stunt doubles. It's a seamless marriage of star and stunt team, which, quite frankly, it should have been. It'd be a bit embarrassing if it wasn't, but that doesn't mean that the work isn't great. But what it also does, the stunt work, is to elevate The Fall Guy from an okay action romance film to what I think is an essential modern action film. The stunts in the movie are just that great. The sequences are so well designed. And even though I had a lot of issues with the script, it also had some clever setups and payoffs that harken back to the 80s and 90s movies that obviously influenced this one. Of course, great stunts are useless without great camera work, but veteran Leitch director of photography Jonathan Sela does a really good job at capturing all the action. He previously shot the first John Wick, Atomic Blonde, Deadpool 2, and Bullet Train, among other films. And the acting is solid beyond the two leads, with Waddingham bringing her talents to her role as Ryder's Diet Coke swilling producer.
Please go and find him.
Why me?
You're a stuntman, for God's sake. No one's going to notice whether you're here or not. No offense.
I mean, some taken.
Aaron Taylor Johnson playing an actor whose star power vastly outmatches his own intelligence, and Winston Duke playing Colt's longtime and sometimes only ally in the stunt world. Taylor Johnson in particular, I think, is left off screen for too long, but makes the best of the time he's given, including what I am convinced is a keenly studied impression of Matthew McConaughey. Still, the major failing of The Fall Guy is the script, which is a bit too long and veers close to fourth act syndrome after the main conflict has basically been resolved. But as is fitting for the movie kicking off Hollywood's summer season, The Fall Guy is rescued by spectacle, featuring some of the best stunt work at scale that I've seen in a very long time. Will that be enough to deliver a big audience, both domestically and globally? Well, that's a great question, but for my part, the second half action pushes The Fall Guy past its fine into the it's good range, and with a little more polish, this could have been a must-see movie. Still, it's a fun crowd pleaser with some unrealized potential. The Fall Guy's already open in Australia where the movie was set, and further kudos, by the way, to the team for using practical locations. I know that as technology gets better, they say that it can be more and more seamless with CGI, but the fact that they shot in and around Sydney and you could tell that they were actually in Sydney, I still think that there is no substitute for actual practical location work. So The Fall Guy obviously opened in Australia a bit early. It's opening here domestically and in many other places around the world this weekend. What do you think? Are you excited about The Fall Guy? Are you going to use it to kick off your summer movie season? Let me know down in the comments below. And before we go, I want to thank the sponsor for this video, Mando. This episode's brought to you by Mando. People think I'm crazy when I say this, but I'm not a big fan of summer. And one big reason is that I sweat a lot. And I hate doing the stealth pit smell maneuver to make sure I'm not stinking up the joint after I've been sweating outside. But that pressure's now off with Mando because no matter how much I sweat, I'll still smell like $1,000,000. I mean, I won't smell like money, but you know what I mean. Mando whole body deodorant is safe to use anywhere on your body and is made with mandelic acid, which blocks the bacteria on your skin from causing odor. I put Mando on before mowing the yard the other day, and even though I sweat just as much as I always do, I didn't feel like I had to avoid talking to the neighbors so I could rush inside and take a shower. Right now, I'm using a solid stick deodorant, a bar for the shower, and even some deodorant wipes in case I need to stay fresh on the go. And Mando is clinically proven to control odor better than a shower with soap alone. If you're new to Mando, their starter pack is for you. You get a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice like a mini body wash or deodorant wipes, and free shipping. Luckily, I have a discount code to help you get hooked on my favorite smelling whole body deodorant on the market right now. New customers get $5 off a starter pack with our exclusive code. That equates to over 40% off your starter pack. Just use code DAN at shopmando.com. That's SHOPMANDO.com and use the promo code DAN. Thanks to Mando for sponsoring this video, and thank you for watching. Be sure to stay tuned right here for more movie news, reviews, box office, and more. Until next time, stay safe, and I'll see you then. Bye.